An anonymous NBA executive has revealed a potential Julius Randle trade, and also Josh Hart is looking on making a massive improvement to his game, and we have to talk about this. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video as we always do. I know we talk about Julius Randle and trades a lot, and I'm trying to move away from that, but an NBA executive did recently say that he thinks the Clippers could be a very, very realistic location if the Knicks are to move Julius Randle. And let's jump into what he's going to say, because he does mention via Sean Devaney that the Knicks do not have a lot of options trying to find a team to take Randle. Well, one, they're not trying to trade him. There's not a lot of teams you can drop him into the lineup and they'd be fine. I disagree completely. And there's not a lot of teams that want to match up contracts there. I still disagree. But the Clippers could. They want another star for that group. Yeah, that's fine. Just give us Kawhi and I'm good. Honestly, give us Kawhi and a first-round pick, and I'll trade Julius Randle to the Clippers. That's the deal. Like, let's be real here. I'm not taking Zubac. No, I'm not. I'm not taking P.J. Tucker's contract. Who the hell do you think Julius Randle is? He's an all-star. He's an all-NBA caliber player. I'll take Kawhi. And I'll take nothing else outside of a first-round pick for taking the atrocious contract that is washed-up Kawhi. Because I don't believe Kawhi Leonard's still Kawhi Leonard. He's never healthy enough. I think Kawhi's a great player. I think he's still a great player. I think when he plays healthy, the one time a year that he does, he's still a top 10 player in the NBA. There's a reason why he was the best player on a championship team, despite the fact that his legs were falling apart. Guess what? His legs fell apart after that. That's why the Clippers have not seen a lot of success. Kawhi's hardly ever been healthy enough to do anything outside of 2020, where they blew a 3-1 lead, and it's not like Kawhi helped stop that from happening. It was really Paul George's fault, but Kawhi was not good in that series either, and we're not going to pretend like he was. Now, I'll take Kawhi for Julius Randle under the circumstances that the Knicks get some draft capital with it. Then I'll do it, and guess what the Clippers are not going to do? That. So we can really figure that, okay, Julius Randle probably not going to get traded to the Los Angeles Clippers. The Knicks aren't stupid. They're not going to do that. And as Fred Katz, not Frad, mentions, this team has championship ambitions. Because of that, there's no indication the Knicks want to trade their starting power forward, who's all-star, all-NBA. They saw what happened after the arrival of OG when the Knicks went 12-2. One of those games Brunson did not play. That's one of the losses, unsurprisingly, which included annihilations of a healthy 76ers, Denver Nuggets, and Timberwolves. They saw Randle play the best basketball of his career. He was pass first. He was a team player. He was really playing phenomenal basketball, and the Knicks understand that Brunson needs another source of shot creation next to him, which was evidently clear in the playoffs. The point guard can't carry the attack all by himself, especially not when playoff defenses are keyed in on him or May or June. We're not going to see a world where Brunson doesn't see a single double or doesn't see a double team every single time in the playoffs, because he is. I know how good the Knicks are, and I know how hard it's going to be to double team Jaylen Brunson. Teams are going to do it anyway because they understand how good Jaylen Brunson is. It's no longer a secret that only Knicks fans know. It's now common knowledge. We don't have that luxury anymore. The Knicks now have a target on their back, and guess what? The easiest way to create open looks for Jaylen Brunson is to have a behemoth who can run into the paint, is a phenomenal passer out of the post, which Julius obviously is one of the 3 NBA players who can average over 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in a season, the other 2 being Giannis and Jokic. So that being said, I'll take Kawhi and a first-round pick, maybe another one, and then also Bones Highland, and then you got a deal, and that's exactly it. I know that's ridiculous to say, but guess what? Julius is usually healthy. I understand the last 2 years he dealt with freak injuries, but guess what? Kawhi's dealing with non-freak injuries. He's nearly 35 years old. He hasn't proven he can stay on the court. He's never going to prove that again. The Clippers suck. There's nothing else I'd even kind of want. I'm not interested in James Harden whatsoever. There's no point in having that man get paid that much as a 6th man. And also, you can't even make that trade till January after it's shown that Julius is having the best season of his career because he has the most spacing of his career. It's a bunch of BS, and we're just going to move right past that because I honestly find it completely ridiculous that we still have to talk about this. Anyone who still talks about this is nuts. Look at the stats. If you think Julius should be traded, I just think you're flat out wrong. If you don't like Julius Randle and want him off the Knicks for nothing, I just think you don't know basketball. These numbers prove it. But let's talk about something more fun, guys. Whoops. Let's talk about something a little bit more fun. Josh Hart is working on getting a massive improvement on his game, and that is in the one category that when you look at Josh Hart, you say, this is what I want him to improve upon. I'm obviously talking about shooting. Josh Hart, tomorrow, because this video is coming out August 4th, tomorrow, Monday, August 5th, Josh Hart is going to start a 2-week boot camp in South Florida. working on that jump shot to try to become a 40% shooter, something he has been in the past. Josh Hart is going to try to do that again. He is going to work for the next 2 weeks with his trainer. And let's just break it down for you guys. Because Ian Begley mentioned that Josh Hart's longtime shooting coach, Mark Rammeljack, will meet Hart in an empty gym somewhere in South Florida. Josh Hart will spend the next 2 weeks with Rammeljack to fine-tune the granular details of his jump shot. Now, essentially what that means is basically just work on Josh Hart's shot mechanics. Remember when Josh Hart was just a brick for the entire first half of the season, then kind of got things together, then the playoffs was just cashing threes? Yeah, he was working with Rammeljack, which he usually does over the summer, but he didn't get the chance to last year because of FIBA and Team USA. Him and Rammeljack didn't have time. Their schedules couldn't align. And then Josh Hart came out slow shooting. He even said on the Roommates podcast, yeah, my jump shot's broke right now. I need to fix it. In the playoffs, he absolutely did. Josh Hart was a phenomenal shooter in the playoffs, putting up 37% of his three-pointers. He was doing work. He hit one of the biggest shots of the season to ice Game 6 for the New York Knicks against the Philadelphia 76ers. He had a multitude of shots in Game 1 that were massive. The Knicks would not have beaten Philly without Josh Hart's shooting, let alone everything else the man does. Josh Hart is one of the most valuable players the Knicks have on the team. Everyone knows that he's one of their best players. It's just a very strange role that he plays. Now, he'll be playing around 18 minutes off the bench this season when the roster is fully healthy. And that being said, we're going to need Josh Hart to do it all. And, yeah, his minutes will probably take up a bit as playoffs come into town because he's probably going to become their sixth man. Him and DiVincenzo will probably end up playing very similar minutes. And they'll kind of share that six-man role. I think that'll happen throughout the season, but especially come playoffs when Josh Hart's style is most valuable because it's more physical, the playoffs, that being said. That being said, I can't speak right now, guys. It's been a few days since I've done a Knicks Digest video, and I'm rusty. But look, I love this for Josh Hart because when you look at him and when you look at the Knicks, you think about Josh Hart and you're like, yeah, he's a great player. I love Josh Hart. I'd rather if he could be a better shooter, but he doesn't even really need to be, especially with the team the Knicks have, with Mikal Bridges, with Jaylen Brunson, with Dante DiVincenzo, with OG Anunoby, with Deuce McBride. All guys that either have once in their career or have the potential to shoot over 40% from three. Actually, everyone I named there has hit the 40% mark from three, including Julius Randle, who's obviously not going to get back there and going to shoot less threes than ever this season. But at the same time, he's not a terrible shooter. I mean, it's pretty good when your seventh or eighth best shooter in the rotation is Julius Randle. So that's a win. He's worse at shooting threes than everyone except for Mitch and Jericho Sims and Precious. So outside of the centers, he's worse than everyone else at shooting threes. That's the way you want it to be. And with Josh Hart, you're fine with him not being a great shooter because of everything he does, but if he can hit threes, that's just such a major plus. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Josh Hart is going to do come these playoffs. Now, as we know, Mark Rammeljack, if you don't know the name, I'm saying as we know, but if you don't know him, he's very in tune with basketball. He comes from a basketball family, and according to Ian Begley, we know Josh Hart's kind of a jokester, but he's not around Mark Rammeljack. He's all business, and Rammeljack said he knows what he has to do. He's got great concentration, and he knows that it's been worth it. So clearly the Knicks are very in tune, and they love Mark Rammeljack, the fact that he's going to come in and help Josh Hart out a lot. And Hart and Rammeljack spent 4 days together in Miami over the All-Star break. In the first game back, Hart went 2 for 5 from 3, so 40%, put up a triple-double in a win at Philadelphia. In the 2 weeks following the All-Star break, he went 20 for 46 of his three-point attempts, 43.5%. It was easily his best shooting stretch of the season in the final 19 games of the regular season, where Hart just shot 21% on threes. And then guess what happened? Josh Hart came in and did his thing in the playoffs because he worked with Mark Rammeljack. And essentially what he did was the same thing that they're going to do over these next 2 weeks, which is just work on the mechanics. Rammeljack has said if Josh Hart he wants to make everything simpler for Josh Hart when it comes to shooting the ball, because that's the way that Hart is going to get better at it. I'm really looking forward to seeing Josh Hart and the whole Knicks team this season. We're a month away from Knicks basketball. It will be in September, obviously getting some preseason action going. I cannot wait, guys. I want to hear what y'all think about all this. Comment down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. Go Knicks.